Greetings and welcome to BIGwiki, where we research and test the latest Web3 games. Today we will talk about Shrapnel, one of the most relevant projects from the last few years in the scene, in particular about some events and controversies related to its development and its future. Shrapnel is a competitive first-person extraction shooter developed by Neon Machine, a studio that brings together many former HBO and Xbox veteran developers. Built on the Avalanche blockchain, the game has been backed by major industry names such as Dragonfly, Defiance, Three Arrows Capital, and Spartan. It has a consistent history of successful funding rounds, starting in November 2021 when the studio raised 10.5 million from venture capital firm Griffin Gaming Partners. Later, in April 2022, the studio completed a 7 million token sale, and in October 2023, they announced the successful closure of a 20 million Series A funding round led by Polychain Capital. These financial achievements, combined with its AAA development quality, have earned the game titles such as the most anticipated game of 2022 at Game 3 Awards, and kept it consistently in the spotlight of prominent Web3 media outlets like Decrypt, Games 3S, Binance, and Gamified, fostering a general bullish sentiment. But not everything around Shrapnel has been a success story. In November 2023, Law360, a legal news website, reported that 6 founding members of Neon Machine had filed a lawsuit against 4D Factory CEO Court Javeron, claiming the unlawful appropriation of the company's assets and that he had appointed himself as CEO of Neon Machine while removing Mark Long, founder and former CEO. This news triggered a series of actions, including many statements from the team members, reassuring both investors and players that the development will continue despite the internal turmoil. Among these statements, claims emerged that Javeron's actions were allegedly a direct response to his own company bankruptcy, and that not only affect the studio and the game's development, but also prevented investors such as Polychain Capital and Griffin Game Partners from accessing their lawful shares in the company. One crucial detail often overlooked is that this episode represented a counter-lawsuit in response to previous legal actions started by Javeron and 4D Factory. In their claim, they alleged that Neon's Machine leadership had gone rogue, refusing to cooperate with the board and breaching prior legal and financial agreements with the media right holders, actions that justified Javeron's takeover. To understand where all this began, we must briefly go back in time to the studio's early years. In April 2020, a team of former HBO Interactive and Immersive Group developers left their previous workplace and founded Neon Media in Seattle, seeking new development opportunities. Later that year, in September, VentureBeat reported that Javeron's media holding company, 4D Factory, had acquired a 60% majority stake in Neon Media for $2.3 million, leaving the remaining 40% under Neon Media's control. The agreement behind this sale was for 4D Factory to fund the development of 2 projects under Neon Media, allowing the studio to work without financial concerns while ensuring future economic returns would benefit 4D Factory. From there on until October 2023, a series of key events unfolded. First, on March 2021, 4D Factory approved the development of Shrapnel under Neon Media, with the promise that the company would receive 60% of the game's token through monthly vesting upon their launch. Later, in August 2021, a new company, Neon Machine, was created as a subsidiary of Neon Media, sharing its development team. In September 2021, the Shrapnel IP was transferred from Neon Media to Neon Machine, and in November 2021, Neon Machine secured its first round of external funding, raising 10.5 million and beginning the successful streak of funding rounds we mentioned earlier. These events, particularly the funding rounds, were considered as a breach of contract by Javeron and 4D Factory, as they claim it violated their majority stake agreement in Neon Machine. They argued that venture capital firms had taken control of what was legally their property without their consent or knowledge. So, coming back to 2023 and the lawsuit filed against Court Javeron, these controversies led to a temporary arrangement between both parties. They agreed that once the tokens were released, the team would deliver Javeron and 4D Factory their corresponding share, allowing them to liquidate the tokens and address their financial crisis and bankruptcy. However, in 2024, the legal dispute continued to linger in the background of Shrapnel's development. In March 2024, the team announced significant changes to the Shrap token unlocking schedule, reducing its volume by 75% and stating that releasing it over a longer period of time would ensure a more strategic distribution. Later, in August 2024, many key team members left Neon Machine just as a new stage of the lawsuit emerged, where Jabaron and 4D Factory now demanded that Neon Machine had to hand over the Shrapnel IP, claiming it was a fundamental part of the media holder assets. In December 2024, Neon Machine announced important changes to the team composition and the game development. Alongside new gameplay modes and features, they revealed that Mark Long would step down as CEO and transition to an advisory role, being replaced by Kenneth Rosman, a veteran from Microsoft Xbox division with extensive experience in projects like Halo Wars and Sunset Overdrive. According to Neon Machine, Rosman's AAA expertise in shipping and sustaining live operations for high-profile games will be fundamental in ensuring Shrapnel's successful launch in 2025. Finally, the studio announced a new funding round, this time led by the Blizzard Avalanche Ecosystem Fund, with participation from Polychain Capital and Griffin Gaming Partners once again. Finally, in February 2025, VentureBeat reported that the studio had announced it had reached a settlement in the lawsuit with 4D Factory and expected the settlement to be submitted for court approval in due course. By entering into this settlement agreement, Shrapnel looks forward to bringing this matter to a close, allowing the team to fully focus on the project's development. So, what lies ahead for Shrapnel? While these recent changes seem promising for Shrapnel, many in the Web3 community remain bearish about its future. The legal dispute certainly took a toll on the project's development and its token value, and could still have unexpected ramifications for the game's future. However, there is also a consensus that this resolution will have a positive impact on the project overall, even though the results may take some time to materialize. The team is currently preparing to fully launch Shrapnel in 2025, introducing new modes and mechanics. The project is shifting from its Battle Royale extraction shooter approach to a team-based competitive mode, as this is a more affordable and feasible goal in terms of both time constraints and budget compared to their original vision. Furthermore, the next funding round, led by the Avalanche Blizzard ecosystem, is also expected to take place in 2025, providing the team with additional runway to finally deliver the game in its final form. This could potentially have a positive impact on the token's value. With all this in mind, we will just have to wait and see what the future holds for Shrapnel. Remember to follow us for the latest Web3 news and research. Thanks for watching and welcome to the world of BIGwiki.